Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now? We went to Perth for a party and it became a super six for the hoops as we go marching on, undefeated, no goals scored, and we're going from strength to strength in a way where people are starting to ask, is this the best football that we have played ever under Brendan Rodgers? And now with a lot of Celtic fans casting their eye to Tuesday night in the away trip to Borussia Dortmund, it just feels like everything is falling into place. The starting 11 were fantastic. The bench was great. In the video today, we're going to be breaking down what we've seen, what we learned from the game, as well as what we can take out of this match going forward into Tuesday night. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We are pushing for 10,000 subscribers, boys and girls, and we cannot do that without your support. And get into the comment section on this one and let me know who your man of the match was, because it is really open to suggestion here. We'll check out the player ratings from the match as well and see statistically who did come out on top. But as you know, football is about what you see and what you feel in the game, and I'm always interested to catch your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section of this one. And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because this game had a lot of talking points in it. The starting 11 surprised every Celtic fan in one way, shape or form. I really did expect Adam Idah to retain his place after the form he showed at Falkirk, as well as this being an away game. Generally, that's where Adam Idah has been the most effective, and generally where Brendan Rodgers has deployed him from the start the most often. But I do think Paulo Bernardo starting this one over Reo Hatate definitely raised my eyebrow, and it probably raised a few other Celtic fans around the world as well, because this is a midfield dynamic that we've not really seen from the start in a competitive game, where really the victory, the points is of the essence. When we do have a really full bench, it's not like anyone was injured or suspended or anything like that, and it was going to be really interesting to see how the midfield dynamic actually did pan out on this one, as well as Austin Trusty getting a start on the right hand side of the centre defence in the absence of the injured Cameron Carter-Vickers. And I must say, like, on this note, I thought Trusty definitely finished the game with pass marks. I thought he was really good throughout, and even being on his uncomfortable right hand side, his distribution with his left foot looked quite comfortable, looked quite natural, and I do think he came out of this game with pass marks certainly. But in the first half and really throughout the game, my attention was mainly focused on the midfield, because in the absence of Hatate, who normally does join the press and almost becomes like a fourth forward, it was going to be interesting to see how the manager was going to deploy Bernardo and Engels, and we actually seen Engels much higher up the pitch much more often, especially in the early stages of the match, although he was still very much in this midfield three, this kind of tighter triangle that we had built, because St Johnstone were dropping deep and narrow, and they were making it very difficult to have any spaces to play in between, and really they were forcing everything to go out wide, because Bernardo and Engels, when they were getting into these positions here, with McGregor not too far behind them in support, there was just nowhere really for them to pick up the ball in little pockets of space and do the sort of things we've seen Celtic do. So that meant we had an extra over-reliance on Nicholas Kuhn. In the first half, everything that we were doing was going down the right hand side here. Alistair Johnson motoring up and down the line, up and down the pitch, as we've come to see. Engels still had that freedom where he could join in the front line, he could come out into the right hand side here and try and make things happen. And literally, like, every time we got on the ball, we were just going down the right, down the right, down the right. Get Kuhn on the ball. Is Kuhn coming on the inside? Is he going on the outside? He was the number one creator again. He was the most important creative force in this game and in this team for me again, because the way St Johnstone had lined up and banked in, it was going to require, if someone in the middle was going to get on the ball, they would have to go by somebody. They'd have to play some 1-2s with one of the more forward players to try and, you know, pull up St Johnstone player out of position and then try and slide that pass through. And that wasn't really on too much. Bernardo anchored himself very tightly into the middle of the pitch, and, you know, that gives Engels the freedom to do that bit of roaming that he was doing. But Bernardo and McGregor don't have that willingness, don't have that, you know, they maybe don't have the instructions from the manager to take the ball in midfield and go on a drive and run. So everything time and time again was going out to Kuhn. And even though we looked good, we looked very imperious, we had a few goals obviously chopped off, you know, for offside and fouls and all the rest of it incorrectly. It did feel that we were being a little bit one-dimensional, just always going down the right, always looking for Kuhn. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes Dyson was coming on the ball on the left-hand side here, but what we were really missing was Taylor coming into these positions here and really overloading it. It felt like the back four was being a little bit more disciplined, and I kind of got a feeling that this was a bit of a dress rehearsal for Dortmund, having that extra muscle in midfield with Bernardo being a bit closer to McGregor, giving him a bit of insurance for him to maybe pop into some of these areas a little bit more often, as well as Bernardo obviously having the licence to do so if the opportunities opened up for him. But with the form Celtic are on, it did not take long for Kuhn to open up the St Johnstone defence and put Kyogo through for a fantastic finish, a fantastic goal to open up the scoring in the 35th minute. And it was one of those ones where Celtic fans, these are the games that we love to watch, that we love to tune in for, that once the first goal goes in, the dam is broken and let the flood commence. And it really was party time from then on. The Celtic, team confidence went up through the roof, and really St Johnstone, the wind got taken out their sails, and we were able just to continue to impose attacking football on them and try and create chances. But again, a lot of the chances were kind of coming from the same areas, whether we were going to be out wide and either cutting back inside or drilling the ball from this kind of position here. The other alternative that we've seen happen quite a lot in this match was a little bit of a scoop ball, trying to play into the space in behind the back four from a little bit deeper. The likes of Bernardo, McGregor, Engels, all of them were trying to get in on the act with playing some of these little balls clipped over the space to try and get into any of the forwards. And, this is something that we've seen from Celtic in spells, but it felt like that was the only way where we're going to penetrate through the middle. Having Engels and Bernardo this kind of narrow, and they would get into advanced areas as well alongside Kyogo. It felt to me that it would have maybe worked a little bit better in the first half if Ida was up here, because until Kyogo breaks the deadlock, opens the scoring, there was just some opportunities where you felt that either it required a guy to be a bit more formidable in the air, a bit stronger in the air, or somebody that has that kind of strength shoulder to shoulder that Kyogo maybe doesn't have. Pardon the shoulder reference there, to break those lines and run through. But as soon as the wee man opens the scoring, the floodgates open. We get Bernardo, and then Furuhashi again off of a nice assist from Taylor brings us into 3-0 at half-time. And then you feel that, the victory is in the bag at this point. Celtic are looking good, and we're really flexing our muscles. The manager's post-match comments were a really big tell to this. He wanted to see Champions League mentality in this game, and in the second half especially is where we got it. In the second half, Taylor comes off for Valle, and I was quite impressed with Valle for some of the little spells, some of the little moments that he did have in the Falkirk match, despite maybe being the cause of some of the goals we conceded. He got up the pitch again and he made a lovely assist, and the assist he made in this match was absolutely sublime, and it was real deja vu really from the assist he did make in that Falkirk match. But one of the things I've been really impressed with Valle, he did go out on the outside a few times today, but he has very clearly been trained and coached to just be in the same role as Greg Taylor, be that inverted fullback that can overload, that can get into the final third himself and just ask different questions of the opposition. And it really did feel that he implemented that much better than Greg Taylor in this match. Now maybe Taylor didn't have the full licence to do that in this game. Maybe it was a bit more like keep it tight in the first half, don't give away any space in the first half from the defensive positions, which I can understand. And then when Valle comes on, he's off the leash a little bit. It's go and show us what you can do, wee man. And he was lively. He really did give us that extra element of that overloading player that it did feel that we missed in the first half. We get McGregor's 4th goal of the season. Again, a real captain's goal again, just slicing the ball, seeing the opportunity and burying it into the bottom corner, and you can see how much it means to him. That's his 4th goal of the season, and I think this is going to be potentially one of McGregor's best seasons ever if he keeps this up. And then on the 66th minute we get a triple substitution, and I think this is a little bit of a tell towards, again, the roles, the tactics of the team that we're seeing in front of us, as well as the manager's kind of forward planning, his forward thinking ahead to Tuesday night. We see Nicholas Kuhn getting his rest, coming off early, the same for Arne Engels, as well as Kyogo for Adam Ida. And I really did feel that this kind of squad coming on at the 66th minute, this triple sub, every one of them was coming on with a huge point to prove. Maybe a little bit less James Forrest, I think he knows his role in the squad here, but Adam Ida, seeing Kyogo score 2 goals, he's going to be coming onto the game absolutely motivated. And Hatate, seeing Bernardo and McGregor already get on the scoreline, on the score sheet, he was coming on with a point to prove himself. And really this did give a whole lift to the rest of the team and an extra kind of added bit of energy, which was great to see. Now sadly, Hatate was a bit of a non-event in this game for the second match in a row. Forrest was okay in little spells, but I do think Adam Ida's introduction in the second half really just, again, if you're an opposition player playing against Celtic when it's 4-0 down, Kyogo and Kuhn and all these guys have been ripping and scoring goals to make it 4-0, and then the quality of guy that we're bringing on here at 4-0 to go and push it on is absolutely incredible. And Bernardo being on this side of the pitch here, it felt like it was a little bit more natural to him. We see the assist that he makes for Daisen Maeda's goal where he swings the ball in from the right hand side here and the wee man manages to get the header on it to nod it in. And, you know, like Bernardo, I'm a bit of, I wouldn't even say I'm a critic of Bernardo's. I just think everyone goes way over the top. I think if you're to watch this match, like I wasn't really pay attention to his forward passing contribution. Like it is very, very minimal. You will probably remember every forward pass he made, or every forward driving run he made, because he only really does go forward, shoot, drive, pass forward, anything like that, if there is no other option on and there is space and obvious gaps. Because every other time, like, he plays where he faces, he makes safe passes, he doesn't. There's a few times where even he did counter attack and he would put his foot on the ball and play horizontally, and sometimes it's like, mate, just drive, just penetrate forward a little bit more. But every time he passes forward, every time he shoots, it counts. Something comes off the back of it. So it is really hard to kind of hold that against him, because that's maybe the major criticism we get of Hatate. Sometimes he's a wee bit too wasteful on the ball. So Bernardo went up a little notch in my estimations in this game, because we've seen a bit more forward output from him in terms of the passing, cross-ferdizing, you know, these sorts of things. We don't always see that from him. And then when McCowan comes on for McGregor, you know, a lot of people have been hearing and around, you know, Celtic fans, people in the live chat, people in the comment sections, DMs and all the rest of it, thinking McCowan could be able to, you know, carry that water for McGregor, which I'm sure he could, but I just don't think that's ever going to be his role if Paulo Bernardo is on. And we've seen that McCowan comes on for McGregor, but he goes into this advanced attacking midfield position, the same as Hatate. And do you know what we get from this? Ida being the strong, kind of robust one, and then with the two guys with lots of energy and happy to play in between the lines and drive into spaces. It's a nice kind of mirror image from having Bernardo and Engels and Kyogo and that different kind of attacking little trident that we had, if you know what I mean. So I actually quite liked the symmetry of it in a roundabout way. And you see Bernardo, he drops deeper, he drops into this Callum McGregor role, and this is his natural habitat. He's much stronger, he's much bigger than McGregor, and he does a lot of the same stuff that Callum does in this kind of controller position, and he's a very safe pair of hands in this position. And, you know, we're 5-0 to the good, we're in cruise control, but you can feel that a lot of the players are still looking to get in on the act. They want to put their name on the score sheet, they want to put their name in the hat for the starting 11 for the Champions League this midweek. McCowan goes very, very close to getting another goal into his Celtic career very early on, but it is that man Valle that gets that beautiful assist there for Adam Ida after a lovely ball clipped in from Reo Hatate. So great clinical finish from Ida, great game awareness and great on-pitch IQ from Valle to be that overloading player. But then once he breaks the offside trap and he gets onto that looping ball from McCowan or from Reo, I forget actually who did play it as I talk to you now, he's just got that awareness to just make sure I control it, bring the ball down, and there's my man Adam Ida who's going to slot it home for me. Valle feels like he's obviously made a huge contribution now, 2 matches in a row to the forward ranks, to the attacking department as it were. Adam Ida gets his goal to keep his confidence and his form running, and really then at this point it is job done. A perfect day at the office for Celtic. We get a full 90 minutes for Trusty, a really solid performance. Cash for Schmeichel again, with I don't think he had any saves to make in this match. He rated 71.3 out of 100 with making one save from inside the box. He made a nice punch and he had a diving save as well. It's probably all the one thing. So not much to do for Big Casper. It was mainly, you know, passing it out from the back, 20 accurate passes, 4 of them accurate long balls, which is good to see for him. But a very quiet day at the office for him. Trusty with a 78 out of 100. A very confident, you know, league debut for him in a full 90 minutes, which was fantastic. And really, the Celtic team really was smashing, you know, lots of successful actions captured by the statistics. 5 different goal scorers and 5 different people getting in on the assist. It was a very, very complete performance. And this is the sort of standard and this is the sort of form that Celtic, and we've been crying out for it on this channel, have to get to. This is the bar, this is the standard. If you want to be a team like us that really, you know, the big fish in the small pond, rule the roost domestically, going into Europe where you are going to get less chances, if domestically you are slaughtering teams 4, 5 and 6 on a regular basis, it just gives you much more confidence and much more of a chance to actually take the chances that do come that are fewer at that higher level. So I really don't think you could have wished or asked for better preparation coming into this game, except for the kickoff time. Borussia Dortmund play on Friday night, we play on Saturday night for a Tuesday game, and it just feels like all the European teams, or the leagues, actually look after their teams much better, whereas it does feel like the Scottish Premiership or the SPFL, whatever you want to call them, have kind of screwed us on the kickoff time. It was even the early Saturday game, you know. So I heard Brendan say pre-match that they probably won't get back home or back to the stadium or whatever until like midnight or whatever. 10 o'clock, something like that. And then you've got Sunday, you've got Monday, then you've got the Dortmund game on Tuesday. So I do think the substitutions on this, like I mentioned earlier, were quite tactical from Brendan in terms of the minute management on the squad to try and keep the guys that will be playing on Tuesday as fresh as possible and try and make sure they come out of the game with as little bruises and bashes as absolutely possible, so that we can go into Tuesday keeping the confidence, keeping this form, keeping this momentum, so that we can hopefully get the best result possible for us. Kuhn with his 83 out of 100, I do think was the main difference maker, the main stardust, the main X factor again in the team. But it is really hard to look past for me Paulo Bernardo being man of the match in this game. A fantastic goal, a beautiful assist. He played the full 90 minutes and he played in 3 different positions in midfield, you know, so it is a real complete performance from him without it being like utterly spectacular like the likes of Pete Hatate, obviously O'Reilly who's left, and even some of the other Celtic great attacking box-to-box midfielders we've seen over recent years. 51 passes, 22 of them in the final third, but only 7 of them actually making it into the box, and of those 7 balls, 3 of them became attempted assists where someone's got a shot away or made the keeper work a little bit. He's created a big chance, got his shot on target of course, but he's also won 2 tackles. He's also had 7 duels won against 5 lost, so that's a positive of 2, which is absolutely brilliant considering how deep and compact and, you know, how kind of hustle and bustle it was in that midfield area, particularly in the first half. With only 5 passes missed is a really good return from the big man, and like I say, for me, I think it's really hard to look past him as being man of the match. He's also drawn himself 2 fouls as well, which would have got us nice free kicks and nice positions to kind of move the rest of the team up and all the rest of it. But Kyogo was a bit of a star today, 2 goals and an assist for him. One of the best games we've seen from Kyogo in a little while, and I think this will do his confidence no harm at all. And we need a super confident, firing on all cylinders Kyogo if we are going to get famous results in Europe, as well as the likes of Dyson Maeda, who I think will feel hard done by in this game, only leaving it with 1 goal. I think the first goal should have stood. I don't think that foul off the ball, let's just say it is a bit of a foul off the ball, I don't think it materially changes anything to do with the goal, and in which case VAR shouldn't be, it's not a clear and obvious error. They shouldn't be stepping in to, you know, overturn that, to revert that. So I think Dyson will feel hard done by in this one. And really for everyone else, McGregor, fantastic, gets his goal on top. Johnstone, again, his usual incredible self. And even Taylor, with only 45 minutes, was actually one of the most effective players statistically in the game. Obviously got his assist, but he still completed 43 passes, 11 of them in the final third, and 5 of them into the box. Not terribly different from Paulo Bernardo over an entire 90 minutes for a little bit of context there. But I think it is from strength to strength here from Celtic, seeing Valle getting that 45 minutes. Again, I think this gives us a lot of confidence that this is a guy we should be getting more minutes to, and I think this is something that, like we said before, we don't see that Valle is a totally different player from Taylor, and he doesn't seem to have a clear obvious strength or something over Taylor, but he's quicker or he's like better, like clinically. Both the assists he's made have been brilliant. I don't think Taylor would pull off those assists, although Taylor himself is effective in the final third. It feels like we're just trying to get another player that's just as good as Taylor, and maybe Valle can do that job better in time. So I think for the very limited minutes and opportunities he's got, the level he's shown already is very exciting and very promising. I'll be very interested to see how the rest of his season pans out from here, certainly. But again, being his quietly brilliant self, we had Liam Scaldini. And in this game, like again, the defence didn't have too much to do. He wasn't forced to make any tackles, but he's made 2 effective clearances. He's won 14 duels, only losing 1, which is mind-blowing. He's made an interception, 98 accurate passes, 16 of them got into the final third, 16 of them as well were long passes into the opposition, where maybe it's been a bit of a switch across the middle of the pitch, or maybe he's tried to hit down the line for the likes of Taylor, Valle, Maeda, whoever might have been on that side of the pitch with him, and no real final third presence. It did feel like we were aiming for Trusty a little bit more from set pieces and scales like we've seen in recent weeks, but I did think, again, quietly brilliant from Big Scaldini. And it does feel now that, you know, before it was always about Vickers being the rock in defence, but last season, one of the things that really impressed me about Scales is he played with so many different centre-back partners, and he never really looked too much different himself. It was really just then about the strength of the defence itself, you know, how good we looked, did we keep a clean sheet, etc. But it feels like his game is getting better week on week, season on season, month on month, whatever. And again, if it's Vickers, if it's Trusty, if it's Naroki, Scales will play next to anyone, and you'll still get this 1v1 combatant that we've got. This is going to be a massive test on Tuesday, player for us, all across the pitch against Champions League finalists last season, Borussia Dortmund, who won 4-2 on Friday night, not after going 2-0 down. It could have been 3-0 down as well if any of you watched that match. So I do feel the form that we showed in this game, how clinical we were, as well as the little falter that Dortmund have had, not just on Friday night, but domestically, they've not been quite their imperious selves that we've seen last year. They've changed manager and other stuff, but it feels like we can maybe actually be optimistic, not confident, but optimistic going into Tuesday. I cannot wait for it, guys. Champions League parties and significant European venues and stadiums where there's a great fan atmosphere, where we're going to bring an amazing away section. It just feels like, yeah, it's a good time to be optimistic now about that game. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to catch your thoughts and feelings in the comment section of the video today. On screen now, some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Hail, hail, and we'll catch you on the next one.